If I've been a bit painstaking with this lowering cut, I can just skim off these ridges and a little bit of the trough and end up with a flat surface. Now this is a finished surface, so as we work along, we're going to try and leave this without any tears or any cuts in the wood. So drifting across, use my brush to clean off. If I keep doing this with my fingers, then any grease from my hand will make this dirty, so the brush is really a good thing to use. Now I can go as best I can in this direction, and just as before, I'm going to turn the work around to do the other side. Now something like this, you might be able to go with the grain. If you can, then you'll get a really clean cut. So you could take a little chance and see how that goes like this. And if that works out all right, you can clean up in that way. And this across the grain like this with a slice, this is a safe way of working if you're not sure. But you can always go with the grain. That's always going to give you the smoothest cut. So I go as far as I can up to here, drifting up to this edge. Now this edge here is a finished edge, and when we come up to it, what we can do is we can clean it up with the V tool like this. So we should end up with a tidy edge along here. This edge of the flower, that's going to be set in properly. And when we come to here, what we can do is, on both sides, as best we can, see if we can get as tight as we can into that little space. So remember, if I stab in by accident with a corner like this and cut up the surface, I have to go over it immediately and clean it up. So as I'm leaving the area, it's nice and clean. And this way, I don't have to go back and just have a touching up. I know everything's nice and tidy. Now I've done as best I can from one direction. I'm going to turn it around and work from the other. If you remember what I said before, that if we have little bits sticking up, that's okay, because we can always clean them off when we set in. Now the important thing is that this surface now goes through this surface, so it's a last chance just to get that sense. It doesn't have to be engineeringly flat, but that sense of the background going through. That wood there definitely didn't like to go in this direction, but this direction was okay. So let's do that a little bit. Very light cut with the V tool, just to take off those shavings there. So when this surface is finished, one thing I don't want to see is any of the trenches cut when I ran the cut across to lower it. Those should all disappear, and what we should be left with is some light facets over the surface. A good little trick here, when you think you've finished, I'm almost finished here, is to change the lighting, put the lighting in from another direction and have a look, because it'll often show up little problems that you, little tears that you hadn't noticed. So that's it, lowering the background, level across, remove all these, the scents of the previous tool, keep it flat, do your best in this area here. Don't worry about those if they're up tight against the subject, and change the lighting, have a look, clean up, and that should be the background finished.